Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing the top 10 most anticipated books for July. So let's jump in. Number 10 for me is Big Game Issue 1. This is a new Mark Millar book, and what's special about this one, it's actually going to combine all his wonderful franchises into one book. It's top secret, which is my favorite type of story, where you actually don't know what's going to happen in this book, and you have absolutely no expectations. So I'm looking forward to this one. I like a lot of Millar's franchises and want to see how they play together. Moving on to number 9, which is Radiant Black issue 25. This is, I would say, the big moment we've been waiting for. There's been a lot of building up to the bigger mythology of Radiant Black, all while the Radiant mantle has definitely been toppled and turned in this book is the best way to put it, where you don't know who's going to be the next Radiant Black. You don't really know what the mantle means, and I love that you keep getting surprised with this book, and I'm sure issue 25 will have a ton of surprises. Number 8 for me is Night Terrors Robin issue 1. You're going to get a lot of Night Terrors here, because on this list I do try to highlight either books that are ending or issue 1s, and DC has a lot of issue 1s because of this event where they're stopping all their titles to tell these one-shots about Night Terrors. And the reason I'm looking forward to Robin is I'm a fan of the Robins in general, but also get to see Jason Todd and Tim Drake verse each other. I think they're a very different styled Robins. We don't get to see them interact very often, just the two of them. So I find that could be a really interesting issue with a lot of chemistry. So that's number 8 for me. Moving on to number 7, which is Night Terrors, Zatanna issue 1. Mostly just because Zatanna doesn't really get the spotlight very often by herself, especially since Justice League Dark. It's very much her and, Constantine or a whole team of people. And this is just Zatanna. And I'm glad she's getting the spotlight. I don't know what this means for the future of her character. And I'm curious if it's going to be more of, again, the Justice League Dark Zatanna or more the Magician Zatanna. But I like the Magician side of her character a bit more. Moving on to number 6, which is World's Finest Teen Titans issue 1, one of the few books that is not tied into Night Terrors for DC Comics. And I love World's Finest. I think it's a wonderful book that mixes modern with Silver Age styled storytelling. And what gets more Silver Age than Teen Titans? So how are they going to tie in these characters but still giving it a modern flair, especially because there has been a lot of Teen Titans being spotlighted since there is no Justice League book right now. So that is number 6 for me. Moving on to number 5, which is Fallen Friend, The Death of Miss Marvel. We finally know who the Fallen Friend is. Obviously, I was looking forward to it before I even knew the death, but now I just want to see a real epilogue to this character. I don't think Spider-Man ironically had the room to do it, but I'm hoping this book will actually get to see Miss Marvel's friends, the people that she interacts with, and I know G. Willow Wilson's gonna have a story in here as well, so I hope it's a good goodbye for now for Miss Marvel, because I'm sure she'll be back honestly, very soon. I know in an upcoming issue with the Emma Frost and Tony Stark wedding, she's like on the cover, so I really, either we might get the revelation in this issue or very soon of what's gonna happen with her. So moving on to number 4, which is Night Terrors Shazam issue 1, and I've been loving the Mary Marvel stuff. I really liked her previous miniseries, and I like that Night Terrors is giving way to tell her story, all while the Shazam Billy Batson thing is going on, and one of my favorite parts of Captain Marvel / Shazam is the family, and I think so far it's done a good job at balancing for people who just like the Billy Batson stuff, but still keeping the family at its core and letting them have their stories, especially Mary, who's definitely one of the bigger characters within the family and one of the older characters in the family, both as a character, but also I meant publishing wise. She's one of the characters that's been around the longest. Moving on to number 3, which is Dark Knights of Steel issue 12. This is the last issue of this book, which I feel like is just such a phenomenal book, one of Tom Taylor's best stories. And this is coming from someone who really doesn't like medieval storytelling. And I think, Tom Taylor does what he does best. He really puts a nice twist on the characters you know and love in this Elseworld view. And I just want to see where this series is going and this franchise is going. I think it's definitely certain that we're gonna get more Dark Knights of Steel, but how? This is the first maxi series. Will it be a sequel? Will we get miniseries? Like, how is this franchise gonna continue, and how will this volume 1 end? Moving on to number 2, which is another Night Terrors book, and that is Ravager, issue 1. I love Rose Wilson. I feel like she's a character, again, kind of like Zatanna, where she's been in books before. She's been in Deathstroke books. She was in Robin previously, but she doesn't get a lot of solo adventures. So I want to see what Rose's story is as an individual in this book, and I hope this spotlight gives DC a reason to showcase her on more of a frequent occasion. Moving on to number 1, my obvious number 1, which is What If Dark? Spider-Gwen issue 1. Obviously, I love Spider-Gwen. I love Gwen Stacy, and I like that we're getting to see that story again from a different angle. So obviously Spider-Gwen is a very different character. She's from a different universe. She wasn't the character who died on the bridge. In this version is the character who died. How about if Peter died and Gwen became Spider-Man pretty much? And I'm like, yeah, it's similar to Spider-Gwen, but I think that's what I like about it. And I'm just so excited. It's just it's everything you love about a What If issue. It gives power to Gwen. I'm stoked for this book. Let me know in the comments below, what are the books you're most excited for the month. This is Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys in the next one.